all those moments will be lost in time.
Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be reading creepy stories from the subreddit r/letsnotmeet. If you don't know that subreddit, it pretty much covers creepy stories that are allegedly true, and it's more fun if we pretend they are all true, even if some might seem a little bit unbelievable. Before we get into that, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Shudder. Shudder is a premium streaming service from AMC Networks. This service was specifically created for fans of thrillers, suspense, and horror. Shudder has the largest and fastest growing human curated selection of thrilling and dangerous entertainment. You can stream great thrillers, horror, and suspense for $5.99 a month or $56.99 a year. And you can do this on all of your favorite devices such as Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Xbox One, iOS, and Android. To try Shudder for free for 30 days, go to shudder.com and use promo code READYTOGLARE. One specific film I enjoy on Shudder is titled Digging Up the Marrow. It's shot in a found footage style and involves monsters, two of my favorite elements. I highly suggest it. Thank you again to Shudder for sponsoring this video, and remember, to try Shudder for free for 30 days, go to shudder.com and use promo code READYTOGLARE. Anyway, let's start reading some creepy stories. All of these stories will be linked down below in order. Obligatory, not me, but my boss. She told me this story a while ago, and I thought you guys would enjoy it. She has 4 children, and when they were young, she was driving along one of those 7-seater people carriers when it broke down on the side of a motorway. She pulled over onto the hard shoulder and put on her hazard lights, got the kids out of the car and behind the barrier, and called the auto assistants and her husband. All standard stuff. About 10 or 20 minutes later, a car pulls up behind her with a rather good-looking, nice chap in it. He says he lives just off the next turning and had seen her and decided to circle back to see if she needed any help. All the way through this, my boss says he didn't throw up any red flags. He just seemed genuinely concerned about the kids being on the side of the road and offered to take her back to his for a cup of tea and wait for the AA. He even said you can call the AA and your husband to tell them where you are just to be safe. Again, my boss is very sweet and kind and thinks the best of people, and still no red flags. She turns him down only because she had 4 kids with her. She said if she had been on her own, she probably would have taken up the offer, as he seemed so genuinely kind. She turned him down because she didn't want to take the children back to a stranger's house, not because of mistrust. He sort of pushed it a little bit more and then shrugged and left. A couple weeks later, she saw his photo in the paper. He had stopped to help another woman who had broken down, and he had murdered her after offering her a lift. To this day, she maintains that she genuinely didn't see any red flags and that the only reason she's alive is because of her kids. Well, I'm never letting anyone ever help me unless it's fucking AAA. That is terrifying. And I think these are the stories that scare me the most, mainly because nothing happened, but a seemingly small decision, though it really is a big decision, could have led to her demise and her children's demise, and that is terrifying. It just makes me think back of the times where I said yes to doing something and it really could have turned out badly. Thank God it didn't. But this makes me want to trust exactly no one. Okay, so I'm 14 and am often mistaken for 18 because of my shape. A little context. I was at the YMCA with my sisters, we were swimming for a while, and then I started to feel sick. My younger sister said, "You don't look good, maybe you should sit in the changing room for a while." Me: "Yeah, I think I will." I went to the changing room for some peace and quiet, and lucky me, no one was there. I sat on one of the benches and closed my eyes. A few moments later, and I hear someone come in. It was a guy, tall, muscular, and genuinely good looking. I brushed it off, thinking he was waiting on his girlfriend and came to check on her because she was taking too long or something. That is until he approached me and sat right next to me, so close our thighs were touching. I was really surprised. I scooted over and gave him that "what do you think you're doing" look. He smiled at me and said, "Don't worry girl, I'm not gonna hurt you," and proceeded to put his hand on my back. I stood up and backed away. I was scared to run because he seemed athletic, so he probably could have caught me. He asked me, "How old are you, baby?" in a sickening sweet tone. I say 14 and he nonchalantly says cool, so I asked how old he was. 23. He then stood up and started walking over to me and I backed away from him. This is the turning point. I hear a bathroom stall open, and there, standing in all her glory, was the lady who I'll call my hero. She stepped out and I know she heard everything. That dude hightailed it out of there. The lady was nice and stayed with me for a while. Her name was Stacy. Thank you, Stacy. This story is creepy to me simply because it was a question of luck. Like, it was lucky that there was a woman in the bathroom stall who happened to hear everything, who came out and was willing to stand up for the girl. It just could have gone so wrong, especially because this guy sounds really creepy. Something about how he was talking like, how old are you, baby? Don't worry, girl, I'm not gonna hurt you. Ugh, just gross. Like, no normal person comes up to people and says that when they have good intentions. Have you ever had someone come up to you and be like, oh, I'm not gonna hurt you, and then something good happens? That's never happened to me. Usually there's a reason why I think they're gonna hurt me, and it's because they're sketchy as shit. Glad she's okay, glad Stacy was there, and in the end, this just emphasizes the fact that sometimes just your presence is enough to deter someone from acting a certain type of way. Because I know that I think about this sometimes where it's like, if I witness something, I always wonder, how would I step in a situation like that? It's a bit comforting to know that sometimes someone just showing up is enough, or someone just letting other people know, hey, I saw what you did, I heard what you said, you know? Thank God for women like Stacy. I wasn't sure if this was worthy of a post on here, but I figured I'd give it a shot. I'm no writer, just want to share this experience. A couple of years ago, I accompanied my husband to an appointment he had in the downtown area of the small town next to ours. Usually when he went inside, I just sit in the car. However, I have a bladder condition, so when I need to go, I need to go. Otherwise, it can sometimes cause me painful spasms. His therapist had been apprehensive about letting me in to just use the bathroom, as he had to keep the door locked since no other employees are in on Saturdays and his office was upstairs. I'm sure if I pushed the issue, it would have been fine, because eventually he told me I was welcome to come in during. He's just different, what can I say? Anyway, due to his apprehension, I decided I'd find the nearest Walgreens, usually one of my go-tos if I'm out and this happens. At the time, I didn't realize this was a sketchier area of the town, I just needed to pee. Plus, the fact that it was broad daylight gave me comfort. So I get to Walgreens and park in front of the store. Already I'm looking around and seeing a few shady-looking people, but I decide to go against my better judgment and go in. I immediately look for signs to the restrooms so I can get in, get out, and hightail it out of there. I open the back door that leads to the restrooms, turn on the right, and open the women's restroom door. I heard movement initially, then dead silence. I see that the larger stall door is closed, so my first thought is, oh, someone's trying to drop a deuce in peace, and I just interrupted them. So I go into the smaller stall and I'm thinking about how eerily quiet this person got. Suddenly my heart sinks into my ass and I have a gut feeling that we all get that something isn't right. Because even as I'm using the restroom, this person still hasn't made a sound. Now I'm just thinking about getting the fuck out of there. I move as fast as possible, and once I'm out of the stall, still, I hear nothing. Now I'm thinking maybe I'm just crazy. I get as close as I can to the bathroom door entrance and try to peek under the stall to see if I see anyone's feet. Nope, not feet, but a pair of fucking eyes staring right back at me. Not a woman, but a man was crouched down looking directly at me. I ran as fast as I could to the front of the store and told the cashier what happened, and she said she would kick him out and call the police. I didn't even wait around because it was almost time for my husband to get out of his appointment and I was shaking. My thought is he was either one, a perv, two, a crackhead that was trying to get high and feeling paranoid, this is very possible given the area, or three, a crackhead perv. I didn't want to find out. Needless to say, my husband was pissed that I even took the chance and wanted to go back there to see if I could identify him somewhere outside. I didn't see the guy anywhere and didn't see the cops either. This kind of thing is probably a regular occurrence in this area. I'm just glad I hauled ass out of there. Lesson learned. Ladies and gents, be aware of your surroundings and trust that gut instinct because it's never wrong. And creepy bathroom crackhead pervert guy, fuck you, let's not ever meet. Okay, that's super creepy. I'm glad that she got that gut feeling and just ran the fuck out, and it was also smart that she peeked right in front of the door so she could run away, because if she'd peeked when she was in the stall, the person could have ran out and tried to prevent her from getting out of the stall or do something to her, so she was smart. Good on her for that, but honestly, I feel like so many times out of politeness or to not inconvenience someone else, we put ourselves in such horrible situations, and it's worth being awkward and maybe inconveniencing someone slightly if it's a situation like this, you know? Safety first, guys. I posted once before about a break-in when I was a teenager, decided to post again another creepy experience. My husband and I love to go driving. We prefer road trips, but on the weekends or nights when we have nothing better to do, we go cruising and just drive around. We prefer smooth and not busy roads. On this particular night, we were bored and decided to go cruising. We went up north to a small town about half an hour from the city where the roads are curvy and smooth. This town is close to the mountains, and if you follow this particular main street all the way up north, it starts driving up to a mountain. It's about 9 p.m. and there are very few cars on the roads already since it's a small, little cute town, but we keep going north away from houses and stores and eventually to where the roads start curving uphill. We drive for about 15 minutes more and it's pitch black when we see some blinking lights. As we get closer, we see that a truck is on the side of the road facing us. I'm getting the chills thinking about being all the way out here in the middle of nowhere and a stranded truck on the side of the road. As he slowly approaches closer, I tell my husband it's probably for the best to turn back and that I had a bad feeling, but at this point we're pretty much next to the truck. As he pulls up next to the truck, a young blonde guy, maybe in his late 20s, comes around and gets to our window. I get such a bad vibe by this and I tell my husband not to pull the window down. I think he also got a weird feeling, so he actually listens. He kind of just loudly asks what's wrong, and the guy says something is wrong with his truck and he might need a hand. His phone is dead. My husband asks what happened, but the guy insists on showing him to come take a look. He says it very friendly and even calls him bro and says he's so glad we pulled up. My husband says, you know what, I won't be much help, I know nothing about cars, but let me call for help. He knows a lot about cars, lol. The guy's insisting and gets visibly upset. I'm looking back at the truck and I thought I caught movement inside of the truck. I tell my husband I think we should go. Now. He probably saw a look of fear on my face because he put the car in reverse, but as he did that, the guy's now behind our car, acting stressed out, rubbing his face, and kind of pacing. So my husband decides to go forward instead then. We drive up for maybe 2 minutes trying to find a place to turn around since the road is so narrow. The road turns to dirt road and there's little more space on the side, so he's able to turn the car around. I'm dreading going back that way now, and our phones have no signal at all. In my mind, I know this could all really be someone with car problems. Maybe a friend is in the truck too. He never said he was alone. I just can't help the bad feeling in my gut. We soon reach the area where the truck had been, but there's no truck at all. We drive down maybe another 5 minutes, but no trace of the truck, and we are sure we have passed the place where it had been. Like I said, we didn't drive up too far to begin with. I am both relieved and terrified that the truck was no longer there. If it had really broken down, how did they get it to work again in such a short time? Calming myself down, I'm telling my husband, hey, maybe they really did get it to work, maybe it turned on all of a sudden and they were able to drive off. Suspicious, but not impossible. As we keep driving through and the roads are straightening out, we notice far off the truck with all the lights off and parked on the side of the road again, and we notice movement in the bed of the truck. I say out loud, why did they turn off all the lights? I think they think we are still too far away to see them, but we see two figures get on the other side of the truck and crouch down as if hiding. We get closer and my husband floors it. As we drive past, two men get up. One of them the guy we had spoken to and someone else with a very surprised look on their faces. One of them runs behind us for a bit and we see them get tinier in the back. I keep looking back, terrified, but it's dark back there now and all of a sudden I see headlights turn on the truck and start driving our direction very fast. My husband keeps going fast and eventually we lose the headlights. I keep looking back the rest of the way, so scared that they're somehow still following us. Maybe they turned on their lights again and I can't see them. Anyway, after driving for a very long time back to the city, we convince ourselves no one is following us. We do call the non-emergency line and give a description of what we saw. No, we didn't get the plates of the truck, it was all so fast, and in all the fear, I didn't think to get them. We just gave a description of the guy we saw, the type of truck it was, etc., but there's really nothing that could be done. I realize all of this could be rationalized, but in the moment we were filled with terror being out there in the middle of nowhere and all the possibilities. They could have been armed, they could have put their truck sideways and left us with nowhere to go, they could have put something out on the road to rip our tires, and even though it all could have some explanation, there's still so many questions. Why couldn't he tell us what was wrong? How did the truck work again so fast? Why did they turn off all their lights? Why did they hide? It's been about a year and it's just a creepy experience now. We still go cruising, but usually we stick to a little more civilized areas, at least for our nighttime cruises. Honestly, I don't know if I've seen The Hills Have Eyes a few too many times, but anything in the middle of nowhere and gas stations or cars or trucks or whatever pulled to the side of the road, no. Absolutely not. Like, I realize that there's a possibility that the person is completely fine and nothing will happen, but honestly, if you get those vibes on someone, it's just really not worth putting yourself in potential danger, especially the situation with a truck that works, doesn't work. I think this was definitely shady. Like, it could be rationalized, but at the same time, I feel like they did too many things that are shady and it just doesn't really make sense. Like, I can't really find an excuse for all of those things. Had it been one, it would have been different, but I'm glad they didn't stop. I've had a situation where someone was following me in my car, and even though you're in a car, so you feel, you know, somewhat more protected than being on foot, it still is a very scary experience because it's always about, do I stop? If I do stop, where do I go? Where do I pull over? You also don't want them to follow you home, so you can't really go home, and it's just a lot. And I think the idea of thinking on your feet while you're driving and paying attention to other things is what makes it super anxiety inducing. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Shudder for sponsoring this video. Thank you to my patrons as always, and let's get right into the fan art.